The world of modern entertainment often feels like a repetitive cycle of echoes, where the same rhythms and the same predictable melodies fill the airwaves until they become little more than background noise. We move through our days in a structured, almost clinical reality, rarely stopping to wonder if there is something more, something that could fundamentally alter the way we perceive the space around us. But every so often, a shift occurs in the cultural landscape that defies explanation, a moment where the gravity of our daily lives seems to lose its grip. It starts as a whisper, a faint resonance that hums just beneath the surface of the ordinary, inviting those who listen to step out of the shadows and into a realm defined by pure, unfiltered emotion. There is a specific kind of anticipation that builds when a new force is about to emerge. An electric tension that vibrates through the crowd before a single word is even spoken. It is the feeling of standing on the precipice of a dream you did not know you were having, where the colors of the horizon begin to bleed into shades that have no names in our current vocabulary. Imagine for a moment a sound that does not just hit your ears, but resonates within the very marrow of your bones, making the floor beneath you feel less like solid ground and more like a distant memory. This is the atmosphere that has recently begun to surround a singular, enigmatic presence in the music world, a presence that has remained shrouded in a calculated sort of mystery until now. The reports coming in from early observers speak of a transformative experience, one that challenges the very laws of physics as we understand them, suggesting that there are heights of human expression we are only just beginning to map out. People are talking about a sensation that feels like walking on the ceiling, a total inversion of perspective that turns the world upside down in the most beautiful way possible. It is not just about the music or the performance. It is about the vulnerability of showing the world something that was once hidden. There is a profound narrative being woven here, one that speaks of broken pieces being gathered from the dust and transformed into a mosaic of sound and light. This is the build-up to a story that transcends the typical rise to fame, focusing instead on the raw kinetic energy of a soul finally finding its frequency. As we stand on the edge of this revelation, the questions continue to mount. Who is the architect of this new reality? And what exactly happened the moment the silence was finally broken? The answers are beginning to surface, but to understand them, we must first understand the depth of the silence that came before. This is more than just a debut or a comeback. It is a fundamental shift in how we experience the art of sound. The intrigue lies not just in the who, but in the how a single artist can take the fragments of a shattered heart and use them to build a stairway to a higher plane of existence. As the lights begin to dim and the first notes of this new era begin to play, the world watches with bated breath, waiting to see what happens when the dream finally becomes reality. The transition from a quiet anticipation to a full-scale cultural phenomenon does not happen by accident. And what we are witnessing now is the unfolding of a meticulously crafted emotional landscape that has finally reached its boiling point. For months, there were rumors of a project that sought to bridge the gap between the internal world of the human heart and the external world of sonic innovation. But no one was quite prepared for the sheer scale of the vision that was being prepared behind closed doors. As the first hints of this new work began to circulate through underground channels and digital spaces, the conversation shifted from simple curiosity to a sense of genuine awe. It became clear that this was not just another collection of melodies, but a deliberate attempt to redefine the boundaries of connection. Those who have had the privilege of experiencing the early stages of this release speak of a sensory overload that defies traditional description, where the music seems to manifest as a physical presence in the room. This is the moment where the intrigue begins to solidify into something tangible, as the world starts to catch glimpses of the artist behind the mystery. An individual who has chosen to turn their most private vulnerabilities into a universal anthem for the modern age. The narrative deepens as we look at the specific imagery being utilized to describe this experience, particularly the recurring theme of an altered reality where the laws of physics no longer apply. To walk on the ceiling is to see the world from an impossible vantage point, to find stability in a place where everyone else sees only a fall. This metaphor serves as the cornerstone of the tension that is currently gripping the industry. As listeners, find themselves pulled into a dreamscape, painted in colors they have never dreamed in. These are not the primary colors of the standard pop spectrum, but rather the deep, complex hues of a life lived through trials and triumphs. The tension arises from the realization that such beauty often comes from a place of significant pain, and the reports suggest that the core of this news story lies in a radical act of transparency. The artist has not just shared their music, they have allowed the world to enter a space deeper than anyone has been permitted to go before. It is an invitation into the inner sanctum of a creative mind that has spent years navigating the darkness, only to find that the darkness itself could be used to create light. This sense of deep personal intimacy is what is driving the current frenzy, as fans and critics alike scramble to understand the source of this sudden, overwhelming honesty. At the heart of this unfolding story is a profound transformation of what it means to be whole. We often spend our lives trying to hide our flaws, to mask the cracks in our armor with a veneer of perfection, but the news here is that the artist has done the exact opposite. They have taken their broken pieces, the fragments of past experiences and lost moments, and offered them up not as burdens but as gifts. This revelation is adding layers of complexity to the report, as it suggests that the power of this new movement lies in the acceptance of one's own history. The tension builds as we realize that this is not a story about being fixed, but about being loved for the very things that make us feel incomplete. This theme of falling in love with the broken pieces is resonating across demographics, creating a shared experience that is as much about the audience as it is about the performer. As we peel back the layers, the details of the production itself begin to emerge, revealing a level of technical sophistication that matches the emotional depth of the lyrics. The soundscapes are described as expansive and airy, yet anchored by a rhythmic heartbeat that feels almost dangerously close to the listener. It is a balancing act of the highest order, creating a feeling of suspension that leaves the breath caught in the throat. As the details continue to emerge, the focus shifts to the physical reaction this story is eliciting from the public. There are accounts of people feeling as though they are losing their breath, of heart-skipping beats as they are swept up in the momentum of this creative force. It is a visceral, almost overwhelming response that speaks to the power of a story told with absolute conviction. Every little thing, every subtle choice in the arrangement, and every time the melody holds the listener, the intensity seems to climb. We are being taken higher, pushed toward a peak that we can sense but cannot yet see in its entirety. The tension is palpable as the world waits for the final pieces of the puzzle to fall into place. Why now? Why this specific message? The answers are starting to converge, pointing toward a moment of significant cultural impact that will be felt for years to come. The build-up is nearly complete, and as we move closer to the heart of the matter, the atmosphere is electric with the realization that we are watching a transformation in real time. The story is no longer just about a song or a performance. It is about the moment when an individual decides to stop hiding and starts to fly, inviting the rest of us to look up and realize that the ceiling was never really there to begin with. The veil of mystery that has been meticulously draped over this narrative finally lifts to reveal the architect of this ethereal soundscape, and it is a name that has become synonymous with a new standard of artistic excellence, Victoria Monét. This is the moment where the intrigue finds its anchor, as we confirm that the voice which has been guiding us through these dreams of walking on the ceiling and seeing the world in impossible colors is the same voice that has quietly shaped the sound of modern R&B for over a decade. The essence of this report is not just the announcement of a new song or a simple update on a career. It is the revelation of a total cultural takeover. Victoria Monét has officially entered what she describes as her love era, a transformative period that marks her transition from an industry secret weapon to a global center-stage icon. This shift is critical because it represents a rare moment in the entertainment industry where a slow-burn journey of authentic growth finally reaches its boiling point, manifesting in a way that feels both inevitable and profoundly surprising. What happened to spark this global conversation is the convergence of several massive milestones, each one reinforcing the idea that we are watching a superstar reach her absolute zenith in real time. At the heart of this news is the upcoming release of her most ambitious studio project to date, an album slated for the summer of 2026 that she has internalized as her own version of a definitive masterpiece. In recent conversations, she has compared the magnitude of her previous success with the Jaguar series to the foundational impact of Off the Wall, while positioning this next chapter as her thriller, a project aimed at global impact, timelessness, and a scale of production that the world of R&B has rarely seen in recent years. This ambition is not just talk, it is backed by the announcement of her inclusion as the special guest on the European leg of Bruno Mars' The Romantic Tour. Starting in June 2026, Monét will be gracing the stages of the most legendary venues in the world, from the Stade de France in Paris to the iconic Wembley Stadium in London. This tour is more than just a series of performances. It is a victory lap for an artist who spent years writing the hits that defined other people's careers and is now claiming her rightful place among the legends. The significance of this cannot be overstated, as it marks the official end of her time in the shadows and the beginning of her reign as a premier global touring force. +3, but the essence of why this story is resonating so deeply with millions goes beyond the charts and the stadium lights. It lies in the radical honesty that Monét has brought to her public persona. The lyrics we've been exploring, about falling in love with broken pieces, are not just poetic flourishes. They are a direct reflection of a woman who has navigated profound, personal and professional challenges. She has recently opened up about her diagnosis with polycystic ovary syndrome, or PCOS, using her platform to shine a light on women's health issues that are often overlooked. By sharing the reality of her health struggles alongside the highlights of her career, she has integrated her broken pieces into a narrative of strength and resilience. This vulnerability is the engine behind her Love era, a time where she is choosing to operate from a place of softness and transformative energy, rather than the fierce, hunting mindset of her previous projects. It is a message that tells her audience it is okay to drop the armor and that true power comes from being seen in one's entirety. This is why the buzz around her is described as massive. It's because people aren't just listening to a singer. They are connecting with a human being who has found a way to turn her life's trials into a universal language of hope and elevation. +1, add another layer of intrigue to this already multifaceted story. Monét has recently completed a side quest that has captured the imagination of the public: her graduation from culinary school in May 2026. This might seem like a departure from the world of music, but for Victoria, it is part of the same creative ecosystem. She balanced the intense demands of her studies, including 4 a.m. alarms and rigorous technical training, with late-night sessions in the recording studio for her new album. This Yes Chef era, as fans are calling it, symbolizes her multi-hyphenate approach to life and art. It shows a dedication to mastery that is rare in the fast-paced world of digital trends. Whether she is perfecting a recipe or a vocal harmony, the discipline is the same. This is important because it redefines what it means to be a modern artist. She is proving that you don't have to be just one thing to be successful. You can be a mother to your daughter Hazel, a culinary graduate, a health advocate, and a world-class musician all at once. As she prepares to take this new, holistic version of herself on the road with Bruno Mars, the world is watching with a sense of genuine admiration. We are witnessing the birth of a legacy that is built on the foundation of authentic experience, meticulous craft, and an unwavering belief that there is always a higher level to reach. The ceiling has been walked upon, the colors have been dreamed into existence, and now the full story of how Victoria Monét reached this summit is ready to be told. To truly appreciate the heights Victoria Monét has reached in 2026, one must look back at the long, deliberate path she carved through an industry that often prefers quick fixes over slow-burning mastery. Her story does not begin on a grand stage under a spotlight, but rather in the dance studios and quiet rooms of Sacramento, California. Long before she was a household name, Victoria was a student of rhythm and movement, a background that fundamentally informs the way she approaches her music today. She didn't just want to sing, she wanted to understand the architecture of a performance. This early discipline instilled in her a level of patience that is rare in the modern era. When she eventually moved to Los Angeles, she didn't find immediate stardom. Instead, she found her way into the writing rooms, becoming one of the most sought-after architects of the pop and R&B landscape. For years, the world was singing her words without even knowing her name. She was the pen behind some of the most era-defining hits for artists like Ariana Grande, including the cultural juggernaut 7 Rings and Thank You, Next. This period of her life was critical because it allowed her to sharpen her craft in the shadows, learning exactly how to capture the lightning of a cultural moment and bottle it into a 3-minute song. She was building a foundation of technical brilliance that most artists never achieve, all while waiting for the perfect moment to step out and claim her own narrative. The transition from the world's best-kept secret to a front-facing superstar was a masterclass in branding and artistic integrity. When she released the Jaguar project, she introduced the world to a specific aesthetic that felt both nostalgic and futuristic, blending the rich, organic souls of the 1970s with a sharp, modern production sensibility. The Jaguar was a perfect metaphor for her career, a creature that is sleek, powerful, and silent until it is time to strike. This era culminated in a historic night at the 66th Annual Grammy Awards in 2024, where Victoria walked away with the prestigious Best New Artist Award, alongside trophies for Best R&B Album and Best Engineered Album. It was a validation of the long game she had been playing. It proved that you don't have to follow the traditional trajectory of a pop star to reach the pinnacle of the industry. You can be a songwriter, a mother, and an independent spirit, and still come out on top. This success set the stage for everything we are seeing now in 2026. It gave her the leverage to dream bigger, leading to the ambitious love era that is currently sweeping the globe. By the time she announced her upcoming summer album and the massive tour with Bruno Mars, she wasn't just another artist on the lineup, she was an equal to the icons she once looked up to. Beyond the professional milestones, recent events have shown us a deeper side of Victoria that explains why her fan base is so intensely loyal. The birth of her daughter, Hazel Monét Gaines, changed the trajectory of her life and art in profound ways. Hazel famously became the youngest Grammy nominee in history, a feat that underscored the generational talent flowing through their family. Motherhood didn't slow Victoria down. It gave her a new sense of purpose and a different kind of love to explore in her music. This is the heart of the love era, a shift from the hunting energy of the Jaguar series to a more receptive, soft, and expansive state of being. She has spoken openly about how being a mother forced her to prioritize her health and well-being, which led to her becoming a vocal advocate for women living with polycystic ovary syndrome. By using her platform to discuss the physical and emotional toll of the condition, she has turned a personal struggle into a source of communal healing. This advocacy is just as much a part of a current news cycle as her music, as it reinforces the image of an artist who is fully integrated, honest, and unafraid of her own humanity. Her recent foray into the culinary world is perhaps the most surprising and delightful chapter of her path so far. Graduating from culinary school in May 2026 wasn't just a hobby, it was a testament to her belief that creativity has no boundaries. She has often compared the process of developing a recipe to the process of layering a track, noting that both require a balance of bass notes, highlights, and a touch of something unexpected to make them truly memorable. This dedication to learning a new skill at the height of her fame shows a level of humility and curiosity that is inspiring to millions. It suggests that for Victoria, the goal isn't just to be the best singer or songwriter, but to be the most realized version of herself. As she prepares to embark on the European leg of the romantic tour with Bruno Mars this June, she carries all these experiences with her. She is bringing the discipline of a dancer, the precision of a songwriter, the heart of a mother, and the curiosity of a chef to the world's biggest stages. The story of Victoria Monét is a reminder that the most beautiful things take time to grow, and that when you finally reach the ceiling, the only thing left to do is keep going higher. As the world collectively experiences the peak of the love era, it has become increasingly evident that Victoria Monét is not just delivering a collection of songs, but is instead facilitating a global emotional awakening. The resonance of her message has moved far beyond the boundaries of the recording studio, manifesting as a pervasive sense of uplift that fans are calling the Monét Effect. This concluding chapter of our report finds the artist at a point of absolute clarity, where the years of labor and the layers of hidden vulnerability have finally crystallized into a legacy that will define the R&B genre for a generation. To understand the magnitude of this moment, one must look at the atmosphere of her live performances on the European leg of the Romantic Tour. Witnesses describe a scene that feels less like a concert and more like a shared transcendent experience. When she performs the songs that speak of walking on the ceiling and dreaming in colors never before imagined, the production mirrors that sense of weightlessness. Huge, immersive displays transform the arenas into celestial landscapes where the audience is invited to lose their sense of gravity alongside her. This is the physical manifestation of the journey we have tracked. A woman who was once told to stay in the background is now the one teaching the world how to fly. The depth of this impact is rooted in the way she has integrated her personal narrative into the very fabric of her art. Her openness about her journey with polycystic ovary syndrome has sparked a worldwide conversation about health and resilience that continues to ripple through social media and community forums. By naming her struggles and inviting her tribe of followers to see her broken pieces, she has created a safe space for millions to embrace their own imperfections. This authenticity has transformed her fanbase into a community bound by more than just music. It is a community bound by the shared belief that one can be both vulnerable and invincible at the same time. The news here is that Victoria has successfully dismantled the myth of the untouchable, perfect pop star, replacing it with a blueprint for a more human, more accessible kind of icon. This is why her success feels so personal to so many. When she wins, it feels like a victory for everyone who has ever had to rebuild themselves from the fragments of a difficult season. The love era is therefore not just about romantic love, but about the radical act of self-love and the power that comes from finally feeling seen and heard in one's entirety. As we look toward the future, the implications of her graduation from culinary school continue to add a fascinating layer to her public identity. It has become a symbol of her refusal to be pigeonholed or limited by the expectations of the industry. In recent interviews, she has hinted at a future where her culinary expertise and her musical vision might intersect in ways we haven't yet seen, perhaps through immersive dining experience that pair specific soundscapes with curated flavors. This multidimensional approach to creativity is setting a new standard for what a modern artist can achieve. She is proving that the discipline required to master the mother sauces of French cuisine is the same discipline required to master the soulful harmonies of a timeless R&B track. This yes chef mentality has permeated her entire professional life, resulting in a level of precision and excellence that is visible in every music video, every vocal arrangement, and every public appearance. She is a woman who treats her life as a masterpiece in progress, constantly adding new skills and new perspectives to her repertoire. The legacy of Victoria Monét is also inextricably linked to the presence of her daughter Hazel, who represents the next generation of this incredible lineage. By involving Hazel in her journey and allowing her to witness the hard work and dedication required to reach the top, Victoria is building a foundation of empowerment that goes beyond the charts. The sight of mother and daughter on the global stage together is a powerful image of balance, showing that it is possible to achieve professional greatness without sacrificing the richness of family life. This balance is perhaps the most impressive feat of the 2026 season. In a world that often demands women choose between their careers and their personal lives, Victoria is choosing both, and she is excelling at both, with a grace that is nothing short of breathtaking. This is the essence of the report. A story of a woman who took the broken pieces of a challenging path and used them to build a stairway that leads higher than anyone thought possible, as the final notes of the love era continue to echo across the globe. We are left with a sense of profound gratitude for the journey Victoria Monét has shared with us. She has taken us from the quiet shadows of the songwriting booth to the bright, expansive light of global superstardom, and she has done so without ever losing her soul or her sense of self. Every little thing she does, from the way she holds her audience in the palm of her hand to the way she advocates for those whose voices are often silenced, is a testament to the power of authentic expression. The ceiling is no longer a barrier, it is a place to walk. The colors are no longer just dreams, they are the reality we now live in. As Victoria Monét continues to take us higher, we can only watch and wonder at where this extraordinary journey will lead next. The news is clear. The era of the Jaguar was just the beginning, and the era of love is a timeless transformation that has changed the landscape of music and the hearts of listeners forever. This is the story of an artist who finally found her breath, and in doing so allowed the rest of the world to finally breathe along with her. Breaking news. Victoria Monét McCants graduates culinary school while preparing l'album. Grammy winner confirmed a special geste for Bruno Mars, the romantic tour. European leg starting June for Pesos,